The whistle blew sharp as a knife, slicing through the humid Alabama air, and that's when Jake launched himself at me like a freight train disguised as a friend. His shoulder slammed into my ribs, not hard enough to break anything, but enough to send me sprawling into the dew-kissed grass of the practice field, the sting of it blooming hot and immediate. "Gotcha, Ramirez," he crowed, his voice a mix of triumph and that boyish laugh that always made my stomach twist in ways it shouldn't. His face hovering inches from mine, blue eyes gleaming with a spark I wouldn't name yet. I shoved him off, heart hammering not just from the hit, but from the heat of his body lingering like a promise unspoken. "Asshole," I muttered, but there was no bite in it, only the secret thrill that had been building for months. Ever since freshman orientation when he'd slapped my back and declared us brothers in arms on this godforsaken Division II team. That night, as the stadium lights flickered off one by one, leaving us in the purple haze of dusk, I lay there staring at the stars pricking the sky like accusations, wondering if he'd felt it too. The shift, the pull, the quiet betrayal of every straight guy boundary we'd ever drawn. We'd been roommates by accident, thrown together in the cramped dorms of Auburn University, like mismatched puzzle pieces someone upstairs thought would fit. Jake Harlan, All-American Golden Boy from some podunk town in Ohio, with his easy grin and quarterback dreams that had fizzled into backup status faster than a bad pass. Me, Alex Ramirez, transfer from community college in Texas, the walk-on wide receiver scraping by on partial scholarship and sheer grit, hiding my truth under layers of bravado and late-night scrolls through Grindr I never acted on. Football was my armor, the field my confessional where sweat and sprints drowned out the noise in my head. But Jake? He was the complication, the one who turned drills into this electric game of tag. His hands lingering a beat too long on my shoulder pads, his trash talk laced with an intimacy that felt like flirting if you squinted. It started small, those playful jabs during two-a-days in the sweltering August heat. Coach barking orders from the sidelines, his voice gravelly over the megaphone. "Harlan, Ramirez, move like you mean it." And Jake would sidle up, helmet under his arm, sweat tracing rivulets down his neck that I forced myself not to follow with my eyes. "Bet I can smoke you on the 40, he'd say, nudging my hip with his, the contact sending a jolt straight to my core. I'd roll my eyes, mask it with a shove. "In your dreams, farm boy." But damn if I didn't run harder, push farther, just to feel his gaze on my back, that unspoken challenge hanging between us like humidity. Nights in the dorm were worse or better depending on the hour. Our room was a shrine to chaos. His side plastered with posters of Tom Brady and faded Polaroids from high school proms where he posed with cheerleaders whose names he couldn't remember. Mine a neat stack of textbooks on sports psych and a hidden journal where I scribbled fragments of poems about boys who looked like him. We'd crash after practices, bodies aching, sharing a mini fridge stocked with Gatorade and his mom's care package jerky. "Tell me about Texas," he'd say one evening, sprawled on his bed in nothing but boxers and a threadbare tee, the fan whirring lazy circles overhead. I perched on my bunk, pretending to scroll my phone, but my eyes kept drifting to the freckles dusting his collarbone. "It's flat," I said, voice steady by some miracle. "Endless roads, sky so big it swallows you. You ever feel like that? Like the world's too damn open?" He chuckled, tossing a balled-up sock at me. It bounced off my knee, and I caught his eye, held it, maybe a second too long. "Nah, man. World's small when you're winning." But there was a shadow there, a flicker of something raw. His dad was a steelworker laid off in the Rust Belt crash. Mom waitressing doubles. Football was his ticket out, same as mine. We bonded over that. Late-night confessions whispered into the dark. My abuela's stories of crossing the border. His fear of being just another Harlan who peaked in high school. By mid-season, the plays blurred into rhythm. We'd sync on routes like we'd been reading each other's minds. Me cutting sharp left, him threading the ball through defenders like it was meant for my hands alone. After one scrimmage, when I snagged a 60-yard touchdown that had the bleachers roaring, he bear-hugged me right there on the turf, lifting me off my feet. "That's my boy," he yelled, and the team hooped, slapping our backs. But pressed against him, chest to chest through the pads, I felt his heartbeat sync with mine, erratic and alive. I pulled away laughing, but inside, the dam cracked a little wider. Off the field, it was subtler torture. Study sessions in the library turned into him doodling dumb cartoons of us as superheroes on my notes. Me as the Flash, him as Captain America, always with these exaggerated muscles and winking eyes. "You're faster than me. Admit it," he'd tease, his knee bumping mine under the table. I'd freeze, heat crawling up my neck, and change the subject to film breakdowns or the upcoming game against Georgia Tech. But the bumps lingered, accidental on purpose, and I'd lie awake later, replaying them like forbidden reels. Thanksgiving break hit like a mercy kill. I flew home to San Antonio, gorged on tamales with my family, dodged my sister's probing questions about that roommate you never shut up about. "He's straight, Mia. Chill." But she smirked, all-knowing, and I wondered if it showed on my face. The way his laugh echoed in my dreams, the ache of missing someone who wasn't mine. Back at Auburn, the dorm felt emptier until he burst through the door New Year's Eve, arms loaded with cheap fireworks and a six-pack smuggled from some off-campus rager. "Missed your ugly mug, Ramirez," he said, clapping my shoulder hard enough to bruise. We lit sparklers on the fire escape. The campus sprawled below like a sleeping giant, and for a moment under the crackle and pop, it felt like we were the only two souls in the universe. The shift started there, insidious as a fumble you don't see coming. Practices amped up for conference play, and Jake's playfulness edged sharper. Tackles that pinned me longer, whispers during huddles that brushed my ear like secrets. "Watch your left, Alex," he'd murmur, his breath warm, and I'd nod, throat dry, pretending it was strategy. Teammates noticed, ribbed us mercilessly. "You two married yet?" But Jake just laughed it off, slinging an arm around my neck, pulling me close in that bro way that twisted the knife deeper. I buried it in runs along the Chattahoochee, pounding pavement until my lungs burned, telling myself it was one-sided, a crush doomed to fade like bruises. Until the night after the LSU loss, the one where we got steamrolled 42-10, coach's halftime tirade echoing in our skulls like thunder. The locker room reeked of defeat. Mud-caked cleats, slumped shoulders, the sting of liniment and regret. I stripped down quick, avoiding mirrors that reflected a body too lean, too marked by old scars from backyard games in the barrio. Jake lingered, towel slung low, chatting with the linemen about revenge plays, but his eyes found mine across the steam. "Shower up, Harlan," I called, voice rougher than intended. He sauntered over, water already running in the communal stalls, the tile echoing our steps. We soaped up side by side, the ritual mundane until it wasn't. His elbow grazing my arm, the casual flex of his back as he rinsed. I stared at the drain, willing my pulse to slow, but then he turned, soap suds tracing paths down his chest, and said, quiet enough the water drowned it for anyone else. "You okay, man? Looked like you were carrying the whole damn team out there." I swallowed, the lump in my throat tasting like salt. "Yeah, just hate losing. Lies all of it." He nodded, but didn't look away, and in that suspended beat, the air thickened, charged like the moment before a storm breaks. His hand lifted, hesitated, then clapped my shoulder, firm and grounding. "We got this. You and me. Skin on skin, no pads between us," and I swear the world tilted. That night, back in the dorm, the power flickered from a line storm rolling in off the Gulf. Rain lashed the windows like accusations, thunder rumbling low and ominous. We ordered pizza, extra cheese, his ritual comfort, and cracked open beers we'd stashed for emergencies. The game highlights droned on TV, but neither of us watched, sprawled on the floor with pillows propped against the bed frame, the room lit by a single lamp casting long shadows. "Remember that time in Ohio?" he started, voice slurred just enough from the buzz. "Freshman year, bonfire after homecoming. You pulled that fake out on the beer pong table." God, the look on Tommy's face. I laughed, the memory sharp. Flames leaping high, country rock blasting. Me dodging kisses from girls I didn't want while stealing glances at him across the fire. "You were wasted," challenging the whole frat to arm wrestle. He grinned, but it faded quick, his fingers tracing the label on his bottle. Dad called today. Says if I don't start, I'm done. Packing boxes back home by spring. The vulnerability hit like a blindside, cracking his armor wide. Screw that, I said, fierce. You're better than backup. Hell, you're the heart of this team. He looked at me then. Really looked, blue eyes stormy as the sky outside. The thunder clapped, lights stuttering, and in the dark that followed, his hand found mine on the carpet. Tentative, testing. Alex, he whispered, like a confession, and my breath caught, the room shrinking to just us, the rain a curtain sealing the world away. I didn't pull back, couldn't. His grip tightened, thumb brushing my knuckles, and the air hummed with what-ifs we'd both ignored for too long. Jake! It was a warning, a plea, but he leaned in, forehead to mine, breaths mingling hot and ragged. I don't know what this is, he admitted, voice breaking on the edge of fear. But it's been killing me, pretending. The kiss, when it came, was clumsy, desperate, tasting of beer and salt and the sweet relief of truth. No fireworks, no romance novel sweep. Just us, two scared kids fumbling toward light in the storm. But dawn brought clarity's cruel edge. He bolted upright at first light, face pale as the sheets tangled around us. Not tangled in that way, just from the crash of sleep after hours of talking, crying, promising. Shit, Alex, what did we? Panic clawed his features, and I saw it then. The straight boy facade slamming back down like a trapdoor. This can't. We can't. He dressed in jerks, avoiding my eyes, mumbling about coach finding out. Scouts, his dad. Betrayal stung sharper than any hit. Not anger, but the raw ache of being the experiment, the secret to bury. I nodded, numb, watching him flee to the bathroom. Yeah, brothers, right? The word tasted like ash. Practice that day was hell. His passes wild, my routes sloppy. The team sensing the fracture but chalking it to the hangover. Whispers followed, Harlan's off his game. But none pierced the chasm between us. Weeks blurred into a cold war. Nods in the hall, drills where he aimed elsewhere. Nights when I'd hear him slip out to parties, chasing skirts to prove something to himself, to me, to the ghosts in his head. The betrayal deepened at the spring showcase, our last shot at Pro Eyes. I'd poured everything into it, extra lifts, tape study, dreaming of us side by side in some CFL camp, the what if alive again. But during warm-ups, Tommy cornered me in the tunnel, breath reeking of pre-game whiskey. Heard you and Jake got close. That true, Ramirez? 'Cause if it is, scouts don't touch freaks. The word landed like a gut punch and I spun, fury boiling. Who told you? He smirked, jerking his thumb back. Your boy, over shots last weekend. Said it was a phase, laughed it off. But damn, Alex, didn't peg you for that. My vision tunneled. The roar of the crowd, distant thunder. Jake, spilling it like a joke? To prove his straightness, erase us? I stormed onto the field, helmet down, ignoring coach's calls. The snap came fast. I streaked right, but the ball sailed left. Deliberate miss or flinch? It didn't matter. I dove anyway, fingers grazing leather before it hit turf. Incomplete. The scout in the stands jotted notes, and something in me shattered. Halftime, I found him by the water cooler, alone for once. Phase, huh? I hissed, low so the others wouldn't hear. His face crumpled, guilt raw. Alex, I was drunk, panicking. It slipped. Slipped like your arm around my neck? Or the kiss that didn't mean shit? Tears burned, but I blinked them back. Ramirez's didn't cry on game day. He reached for me, desperate. Please. I love. Shit, I care about you. More than I should. But if it gets out. The conflict tore him, mirror to my own. Family expectations, the machismo of the sport, the America that cheered us on the field but jeered off it. We played the second half like ghosts, scraping a win by sheer will. But in the locker room, as celebrations erupted, I grabbed my bag and walked out into the balmy night, streetlights haloing the parking lot like false halos. He caught me at my truck, rain starting again, slicking his hair. Don't do this. Talk to me. What's left to say? I leaned against the door, exhausted. You betrayed us, Jake. Me. Yourself. He pressed close, hands on my arms, the touch electric still. I'm scared. Okay? Of losing everything. But losing you? That's worse. Thunder rolled, and in its echo, he kissed me again. Not clumsy, but sure, pouring apology into every second. I kissed back, hating how right it felt, how wrong the world made it. We drove in silence to the river, tires hissing on wet asphalt, the radio murmuring some Springsteen ballad about highways and broken dreams. Parked under willows draping like veils, we talked, really talked, for the first time since that night. His voice cracked on stories of high school crushes on teammates he buried deep, the pressure of being the straight son. Mine wove through coming out to my sister at 15. The rejection from my uncle who called it una Americanata. It's not just us against the team, he said finally, hand in mine across the console. It's us against all of it. But I want to fight. With you. The climax built slow, a pressure cooker of stolen moments. Quick coffees before dawn runs. Notes slipped into lockers. Route Z, midnight, dream of you. Tension simmered on the field, our sink sharpening like a blade. But off it, the whispers grew. Tommy's jabs turned vicious. A shove in the weight room that left me with a split lip. Coach pulled me aside after. Heard rumors, son. Keep your head down. Focus on the ball. The conflict peaked at the championship qualifier against Florida State. Stakes sky high. Wins meant drafts, futures, losses, the end. Pre-game, Jake cornered me in the hotel stairwell, away from prying eyes. Whatever happens tonight, know this, I'm all in. His kiss was fierce, a vow sealed in sweat and fear. But during the game, under the glare of stadium lights and ESPN cameras, disaster struck. Fourth quarter, tied, me streaking for the end zone, his pass perfect, arcing golden. I leaped, fingers outstretched, and Tommy clipped my ankle, deliberate dirty hit. I hit the turf hard, ankle twisting fire. The crowd's gasp, a collective held breath. Penalty flags flew, but the damage was done. Torn ligaments, season over. From the sideline, crutches digging into my pits, I watched Jake crumble the drive, his throws wild with rage. Post-game, in the ER's sterile hum, he burst in, still in uniform, mud-streaked and wild-eyed. Alex, God, I'm sorry. He collapsed by the bed, head in hands. Tommy knew. I told him to back off, but he said he'd out us both if I didn't play along. Betrayal's second wave crashed, but this time, laced with truth. Jake's slip had been a desperate shield, not malice. It ends now, I said, voice steel despite the morphine haze. Tell coach, the team, or I will. Fear flickered in his eyes, but he nodded, squeezing my hand. Together. The fallout was biblical. Coach called a team meeting at dawn, fluorescent lights buzzing like judgment. Jake stood first, voice steady as he laid it bare. Not the gory details, but the heart. Alex and I were more than teammates, and if that's a problem, look elsewhere. Silence stretched, thick as fog. Then Tommy sneered. Fags ruining the locker room. Fists clenched, but Marcus, our linebacker, a quiet black kid from Atlanta, stood. Sit down, Tommy. Love's love. You want to talk ruin? That's on you. Murmurs rippled. Some nods, some averted eyes, but no exodus. Humanistic cracks in the armor of American machismo. Tommy got benched, transferred out by week's end. Scouts whispered, but Jake's arms stayed golden. My ankle mended slow, but PT became our ritual, him spotting my lifts, me coaching his footwork, rebuilding stronger. Spring turned to summer, and we drove north, his beat-up Chevy tracing interstates from Dixie to the Midwest, chasing fireflies and freedom. In a motel off I-70, under quilted blankets smelling of mothballs, we mapped futures. Him to a CFL tryout in Toronto, me to coaching gigs in Austin, visits promised like stars. But America being America, the humanism came laced with grit. His dad hung up once, twice, before a gruff call. If he makes you better, son, that's enough. My family? Mia flew down for a barbecue, hugged him fierce. Hurt my brother, and I'll bury you in the backyard. Laughter, tears, the messy beauty of it. One night, parked on a bluff overlooking the Mississippi, fireflies dancing like secrets, he turned to me. That first hit, playful, yeah? But it was me reaching even then. I smiled, tracing his jaw. And I fell willingly. No grand tragedy, no fairy tale sweep. Just us, flawed and fighting, in a country vast enough for both our truths. The dynamic shifted, all right, from drills to dances, betrayals to bonds. And in the quiet after, I learned, love isn't the shift. It's the steady hold after the storm. Looking back, that summer road trip was the real turning point. Not the kiss in the rain, not the team meeting that could have gone nuclear but didn't. It was the miles unspooling under our tires. The way Jake's hand would drift to my thigh during long hauls through Tennessee hills. A silent anchor in the flux. We'd blast Dylan and Cash from the tape deck, windows down, wind whipping stories out of us like confessions to the heartland. Ever think about quitting? He asked once, somewhere past Nashville, the skyline fading in the rearview like a half-remembered dream. Every damn day, I admitted, feet up on the dash, ankle brace chafing like a reminder. But then I'd picture you fumbling without me. He snorted, but his fingers squeezed, warm through denim. Truth? I quit in my head too. After Dad's calls, the pressure. Feels like I'm hauling the whole Harlan legacy on my back. Vulnerability again, that raw edge he'd only shown me. We pulled over at a Waffle House, neon buzzing under a canopy of stars, and over pecan waffles drowning in syrup, he sketched his fears on a napkin. Pro dreams curdling into sales jobs, the rust belt swallowing him whole. I folded it careful, tucked it in the glove box with our mixtapes. We'll rewrite it, I said, simple as that. Humanistic, yeah, believing people could bend without breaking, that love was the lever. But America tested it daily. Gas station clerks eyeing our linked pinkies. A trucker yelling queers from a passing rig in Kentucky. Jake's jaw would tighten, knuckles white on the wheel, but he'd mutter, their loss, and crank the radio louder. Me? I'd flash back to San Antonio alleys where slurs flew like bottles, teaching me early to duck and weave. Auburn welcomed us back in August like an old flame. Sultry, unforgiving, the campus thrumming with freshmen hauling boxes and upperclassmen nursing hangovers. Our dorm room had been swapped for an off-campus shotgun house we split with Marcus and his girlfriend Lena, a setup born of that team meeting's fragile truce. Y'all better not make it weird, Marcus joked at move-in, slapping Jake's back while Lena unpacked her essential oils. But it wasn't weird. It was home, the kitchen table scarred from late-night poker, the backyard grill smoking ribs on Sundays. Football ramped up, my ankle taped tight for light drills. Jake shone, his passes laser-precise, scouts circling like vultures at every scrimmage. But the conflict lingered, a low hum. Tommy's ghost and sidelong glances from holdouts on the team. Coaches, keep it professional edicts delivered with a wince. Off-field, we carved space. Dinners at that hole-in-the-wall taqueria where the owner, a grizzled vet named Raul, slipped me extra salsa after hearing my last name. Amor verdadero, he'd say, winking at Jake's attempts at Spanish. Romantic? Sure, but laced with the drama of stolen privacy. Parking lots for makeouts that ended too quick, hands pulling away at footsteps. The real suspense built in September, tail end of hurricane season. A Category 3 churned up from the Caribbean, dubbed Irma by the weathermen, barreling toward the Gulf like divine payback. Practices canceled, campus battened down. Plywood over windows, frats turning into bunkers. We hunkered in the house, board games devolving into truth or dare with Marcus and Lena, shots of tequila blurring the edges. Truth, worst fear. Lena asked Jake, her locks tied back, eyes sharp. He glanced at me, the room lit by candle flicker as power winked out. Losing him. To this, to us. The words hung heavy, thunder underscoring like applause. Marcus raised his cup. To not losing. But in the quiet after, as rain sheeted the roof, Jake pulled me to the porch swing, the world a blur of wind-whipped oaks. "Promise me," he murmured, forehead to mine. "If this blows us apart, we find each other again." I kissed his temple, tasting salt. Like magnets, farm boy. The storm passed in fury, leaving downed lines and flooded fields. But our house stood. Power out for days, we cooked on a Coleman stove, shared lukewarm showers by flashlight. Innocent, intimate, the kind of closeness that stitches souls. Teammates trickled in for charges and company, the gathering turning confessional. Stories of lost loves, hidden pains. One lineman, Big Mike, admitted his brother's suicide after coming out. Another, a kicker from Cali, shared his own quiet queer history. No big reveals, just threads weaving a tapestry tougher than turf. Humanistic America in microcosm, flawed folks finding footing. Fall leaves turned the campus to fire, and with them, our rhythm deepened. Jake's birthday hit mid-October, a low-key bash at the bar where the team had claim on Tuesdays, wings and pitchers, darts flying wild. I surprised him with a leather journal, embossed with Captain Chaos in gold foil, pages blank for his own napkin sketches. For the rewrites, I whispered when he opened it, his hug crushing, public but coded. Later, in the alley behind, away from the neon spill, he pressed me against brick, kissed deep and grateful. "You're my plot twist, Alex." Laughter bubbled, but beneath, the emotion churned. Knowing every joy carried risk, the betrayal's echo resurfaced then, insidious. Email from an anonymous account. "Harlan's playing both sides. Ask Ramirez." Attached. A blurry photo from that river night, our silhouettes unmistakable. My blood iced. Jake's face drained when I showed him. "Tommy," we said in unison. He'd slunk to junior college upstate, but grudges traveled faster than storms. Coach got wind, called us in separately. "Rumors again. Handle it or I will." His eyes held no fire, just weariness. The old guard bending, incremental. We confronted it head-on, posting a joint Insta story. Nothing overt, just us at practice, arms slung casual, caption. "One team, one fight. Auburn pride." Likes poured in, mixed with trolls, but the team's retweets drowned the noise. Marcus amplified. "Real kings lift each other." The support swelled, a wave carrying us, but the drama peaked at homecoming weekend. Alumni flooded town, tailgates sprawling like fiefdoms, the air thick with bourbon and bravado. Jake's dad flew down. First visit since the confession call. A burly man with calloused hands and eyes like chipped flint. Dinner at our place was a minefield. Lena's gumbo steaming, Marcus cracking jokes to defuse. Harlan Sr. sized me up over his beer, silent until the plates cleared. "Boy tells me you're the reason he hasn't quit." Jake froze beside me. I met the gaze steady. "We're reasons for each other, sir." A beat, then a grunt, not approval but not rejection. "Long as you keep him throwing straight." Progress, American style. Gruff and guarded, but a door cracked. That night, after they left, Jake paced the living room, storm clouds gathering. "What if he never gets it? What if I drag you down?" The vulnerability cracked wide, emotion spilling. I pulled him to the couch, hands framing his face. "We're not dragging, we're climbing. Together." The kiss that followed was anchor deep, the kind that says I see your fears and love you through them. No rush, no heat, just us, breathing sync. November brought playoffs, the field a coliseum under Klieg lights. My ankle held for scout workouts, Jake's arm a cannon. Against Vanderbilt we clicked mythic. 60-yard bombs, me hauling in contested catches like they were gifts. Post-win, the dogpile was euphoric, but in the tunnel, Tommy waited. Leering from the shadows, suspended pass in hand. "Nice show, lovers. Enjoy it while it lasts." Jake lunged. I yanked him back. "He's nothing," I hissed. But the threat lingered, a shadow on our high. Climax brewed in the semis versus Kentucky, snow dusting the sidelines, a rarity for Southern ball, but omens don't care for geography. Pre-game nerves jangled. Jake's passes in warm-ups wobbled. Focus? I murmured in the huddle, our ritual squeeze hidden in the scrum. The game turned brutal. Fumbles in the slush, hits that echoed like gunshots. Third quarter, down by 7, Jake dropped back, pressure collapsing, and unloaded a prayer downfield. To me, I leaped through double coverage, ball nestling perfect in my hands. Touchdown. The roar was seismic, but as I spiked it, pain lanced my ankle. Tweak, not tear, but enough to sideline. From the bench, ice pack numbing, I watched him orchestrate the win. Game-sealing pick by Marcus, clock running out in glory. Locker room erupted, but Jake bypassed the champagne. Straight to me. Couldn't without you. His public hug drew whistles but no slurs. Progress etched in sweat. The final against Georgia loomed, but betrayal struck pre-dawn. Tommy's leak to a local rag, headline screaming, Auburn's queer quarterback? Scandal or sideshow? Photos, quotes twisted from that drunken slip. Phones blew up. Coach's office became war room. Jake's dad called raging. My mom prayed novenas over FaceTime. We face it, Jake declared, voice steel. Press conference set. Us, side by side, truths unvarnished. Flashbulbs popped like fireworks as we stepped to the podium. The room a zoo of mics and skepticism. Yeah, we're gay, Jake started, hand finding mine under the table. And we're damn good at football. That's the story. Questions flew, probing, vicious, but we parried with grace. Love's no scandal, talent's no sideshow. Marcus flanked us postscript. Teams got our back. The humanism shone. Alums donating to LGBTQ plus campus funds. Recruits demanding support. Tommy, blacklisted, his career a footnote. We lost the final 24-21. A heartbreaker on a blocked kick. But in defeat's hush, victory hummed. Scouts called Jake to Lions camp, me to Eagles practice squad. Spring bloomed farewells. Packed boxes, tearful toasts. Toronto's got flights to Philly, he promised at the airport curb. Kiss lingering salt sweet. 2 years on, from a Philly high-rise I watch his highlights, Harlan to Ramirez, a nod across divides. Letters in that journal, visits stealing breaths. No tragedy, just the romance of endurance. 2 boys from drills to dynasties, shifting worlds one hold at a time. Philly hit me like a culture shock wrapped in cheesesteaks. The city of brotherly love, ironic as hell for a guy fresh off a southern scandal. The Eagles' practice bubble hummed with pro polish. Turf pristine, Gatorade stations stocked like oases. Vets barking orders with the casual authority of men who'd seen Super Bowls. Me, rookie free agent, the walk-on wonder with the bum ankle and the headline baggage. Bunked in a walk-up near Fishtown where the L rumbled past at dawn like an alarm clock with attitude. Jake's call came that first night, signal crackling from his motel in Allen Park, Michigan. Lions minicamp, a grind of OTA drills and clipboard scrutiny. Miss your smartass already? He drawled, voice tinny but warm. I laughed, sprawled on a futon that smelled of previous tenants' regrets. Miss your bad passes more. Banter flowed easy, but underneath the emotion tugged. 200 miles feeling like oceans, the dynamic we'd forged now stretched thin by tryout limbo. My days blurred into reps. 7-on-7 sprints where I'd flash my cuts, only to get yanked for a vet's curl route. Coach Reed, stoic as a statue, nodded post-session. Kid, you run like the devil's chasing. Keep it clean off-field. The clean hung heavy, echo of Auburn's whispers. Teammates were wary at first. Side eyes in the film room, a wideout named Darius pulling me aside after weights. Saw the article. That real. I met his gaze, chin up. Real as this tat. Flexing my abuela's rosary inked on my bicep. He clapped my shoulder. Respect. Just don't let it distract. Humanistic olive branch, Philly style. Blunt but building. Nights, I'd roam the Schuylkill banks. City lights dancing on water like fireflies we'd chased. Texts from Jake lit my phone. Grainy selfies from Lion practices. Him muddied and grinning. Caption your routes open. Always. Romantic lifelines, but suspense simmered. Cuts loomed end of June. Dreams dangling by cleat laces. A care package arrived midweek. His journal, pages filled with sketches. Us as gladiators, hearts etched in goalposts, and a note, "Rewrites on you now." The conflict reignited via TMZ of all things. A blurry clip surfaced. Us at that airport goodbye, kiss caught eternal. NFL's gay power couple, blessing or distraction? Splashed across feeds. Talking heads dissecting like we were fantasy trades. My agent called frantic. "Lay low, Alex. This could tank you." Jake's texts exploded. "Fuck him. Call me." We FaceTimed late. His face pixelated in the dim Lions dorm. "They're saying I'm soft. That you're the reason." Hurt laced his words, betrayal's old scar itching. "It's noise," I said, fierce. "We're proof it's bullshit." But doubt crept. Nights staring at ceilings, replaying Tommy's sneer, wondering if love was the fumble that had cost us fields. A vet cornered me next practice. "Heard you're the one from Auburn. My nephew's gay, says you're heroes." The word landed soft. A bomb. Turns out, half the locker room had stories. Brothers, sons, selves in shadows. No fanfare, just nods over protein shakes, the quiet revolution of shared scars. July 4th found me solo. Fireworks blooming over the Liberty Bell like ironic punctuation. Jake drove down unannounced. Chevy rattling into my block at dusk. Fireworks in the bed instead of his usual fireworks. Surprise, wide out. We grilled hot dogs on a borrowed hibachi. The L whooshing approval, and under bottle rocket bursts, he pulled a ring from his pocket. Not diamond, but a simple band etched with coordinates. That river bluff. Not marriage yet, just anchor. Tears pricked. I slid it on, silver cool against heat. "Magnets," I whispered. Kiss ceiling under exploding sky. Camp intensified. Cuts carving the roster like a sculptor gone mad. Darius made it. Pulled me into the bubble. "You're in, kid. Reed loves your grit." Elation surged, but Jake's call that night cracked it. "Lions cut 3 QBs today. Not me yet." Suspense coiled tight. His voice edged with that old panic. "What if I wash out? Back to Ohio, you in the league." I cut him off. "Then I visit. Every game, every off day. We're not done rewriting." The drama peaked in August preseason. Eagles versus Lions. Fate's cruel joke scheduling us week 2. Media frenzy built. Harlan versus Ramirez. Lovers duel? We trained in silos, but pre-game hotel lobbies buzzed avoidance. Jake snuck to my room eve of. Cap pulled low, slipping past security like a spy. "Can't sleep," he admitted, collapsing on the bedspread. We talked strategy, not plays, but us. Fears of on-field clashes turning personal. The betrayal of bodies colliding under lights. "Hit me fair," I teased, but his eyes darkened. "Can't. You're mine to protect." Emotion swelled, the room shrinking to breaths and touches. Hands interlaced, foreheads touching, words weaving vows against the storm. Dawn came thief quick. He ghosted before housekeeping rounds. Game day dawned muggy. Detroit's Ford Field a cauldron of silver and blue. Sidelines thrummed. My Eagles huddling, Jake's Lions barking across turf. Coin toss, and there he was, captain, helmet off, blue eyes locking mine across the hash. A nod, infinitesimal but loaded, love in the language of the game. Kickoff blurred violence. Me streaking seams, him threading needles. First quarter, he hit me. A slant over the middle, yards after catch. Crowd split in roar and gasp. "Nice grab." A Lion DB snarled post-hit. I grinned. From the best. Halftime tied. Tension electric. Coach schemed counters. In the tunnel, Jake brushed past. "Watch the blitz," disguised as trash talk. Third quarter turned. Lions surging on his arm. But a strip sack fumble shifted momentum. Eagles clawed back. Final drive, down by 3, ball in his hands. He dropped back, eyes scanning. Found me, the corner route I telegraphed in dreams. Spiral perfect, leather kissing palms. Touchdown. Overtime sealed our win, but victory tasted bittersweet. Confetti falling like tears. Post-game, presser purgatory. "How's it feel beating your boyfriend?" Jake fielded first. Mic hot. Feels like every win with extra heart. Laughter rippled, tension breaking. We met in the tunnel after, helmets clanging in that bro hug all saw. But his whisper lingered. Proud of you. Betrayal's ghosts, banished in the roar. Roster final, both in me practice squad, him third string, but threads in the tapestry. Fall turned crisp, games a grind of buses and bruises. Visits stitched weekends. Him crashing my Philly pad. Me bundling against Michigan chill for Lions watch parties. Romantic respites amid the rush. Dinners at Reading Terminal. Walks in Fairmount Park where leaves crunched confessions. But humanism demanded growth, not stasis. Jake's dad visited Detroit Thanksgiving. Me tagging along tentative. Over turkey in a sterile diner. Harlan Sr. cleared throat. Saw the game. You too. Play like family. Gruff thaw, but real. Stories of his own mill buddies. Loves unspoken in steel shadows. World's changing, boys. Don't let it grind you down. Tears hidden in napkins, but bonds forged. My mom's flight south for Christmas. Mia in tow. Turned our Fishtown rental festive. Luminarias on the stoop, pozole simmering. Jake dove in, chopping onions with abuela precision. Earning Mia's seal. Your keeper material. But emotion-crested New Year's, countdown ticking on TV, when he dropped to knee. Not ring, but question. Philly or Detroit full-time? Us official. I pulled him up, kiss amid Auld Lang Syne. Wherever the route leads. Spring training beckoned, but a curveball. Jake's shoulder tweak in OTAs, docs prescribing rest. Could be season, he texted, panic-veiled. I drove up midnight, found him icing in his apartment. City lights mocking through blinds. Not ending here, I said, curling beside. We mapped contingencies, therapy, trades, worst-case coaching dreams. Vulnerability bared. Love the scaffold. By summer, rehab triumphed. He suited week 1. My calls climbed the depth chart. A jet sweep TD in week 5 earning ESPN nods. Media shifted. NFL's Trailblazers profiles. Us on panels with activists. Voices for the shadowed. No glamour, just work, the humanistic grind of visibility. One night, post-win in Green Bay, snow-dusting Lambeau like sugar, he pulled me to the frozen lake edge. That first drill, playful shove. Best mistake I made. I laughed, breath fogging. Best catch. Under Aurora whispers, we danced slow. No music but wind. Dynamic shifted eternal. From teammates to lifelines. The league's rhythm settled into a brutal poetry by year 2. Jet lag hymns, film study sonnets. The roar of crowds a chorus to our private duet. Jake inked a 2-year extension with the Lions. Me earning a promotion off practice squad to Eagles WR3 modest climbs. But ours. Philly's row house became home base. Weekends blurring city lines with drives to Motown for his games. Or him flying south for mine. Romantic postcards in motion. Notes in cleat bags, catch this heart, scrawled on game balls. But drama never vacations. Mid-season slump hit Jake hard. Interceptions piling like autumn leaves. Doubters crowing scandal's curse. A sideline spat with Stafford. His starter. Leaked viral. Kid thinks love trumps talent. Jake called post-loss, voice hollow from a Detroit dive bar. They're right. Dragging the team. Betrayal self-inflicted. The old demon whispering unworthiness. Flights booked, I said, no debate. Landed at DTW dawn. Cab to his high-rise where he paced like a caged lion, shirtless and shadowed. Alex, Words died as I pulled him down. Couch creaking under weight. Talents you. Loves us. Rest is noise. We dissected film till noon, his throws sharpening in the park. Me as DB trash-talking to spark fire. By dusk, rebuilt. Thanks, coach, he murmured. Kiss gratitude deep. Humanism bloomed in margins. A Lions rookie, Jamal from Atlanta. Knocked post-practice. Saw your story. Needed to say, means something. Jake clapped his back. Means more hearing it. Locker ripples. Ally pins on bags. Quiet invites to pride mixers. Eagles side. Darius hosted barbecues where wives grilled me on Jake. When's the wedding? Laughter, but the question lingered. A seed. Suspense crested Thanksgiving, Lions Eagles, annual bloodbath in the Meadowlands. Families converged. My mom and Mia from Texas, his folks from Ohio, a Harlan thaw turning to tentative warmth. Pre-game brunch at a Jersey diner. Senior cornered me by the pie case. Boys happier. Credit you. Gruff but gold progress plated in pumpkin. Game day chilled to bone. Turf slick with nor'easter threat. Jake started, Stafford dinged. Throat tight under the helmet. First half, Lions led 14-7. My slant drew a PI, but his bomb to a vet sealed it. Third quarter, Eagles clawed. My TD off a flea flicker, tying it. Halftime tunnel brush. Love the fight, he whispered. Fourth, down by 3, Lions ball, he scrambled, eyes locking mine across the line. Pump fake, then laser to the corner. Incomplete, but the intent? Electric. Overtime fumble, forced field goal. We lost 20-17, confetti bitter. But post-whistle, he yanked me into the scrum, hug fierce under cameras. Your catch, that was us. Press devoured it. Heartbreak, but harmony. Ratings spiked. Sponsors called. Nike ads. Gatorade spots with our tag. Play your truth. Off-season brought breath. Beach weeks in Outer Banks. Sandcastles scrawled with futures. Coaching after? He mused, waves lapping toes. Or broadcast. Us. Gray-haired. Calling games. I traced his scars. Turf burns. A knife fight from his teen recklessness. As long as it's us. Betrayal's final ghost surface summer. Anonymous tip to league brass. Harlan's using Ramirez for sympathy plays. Investigation loomed. HR grilling Jake in a sterile conference room. Who? He demanded, fury white-knuckled. Trail led to an ex-agent. Grudge from the scandal scoop. Cleared in days, but scars itched. What if next time it's not? I flew up, found him at the river, our river, now Detroit's banks under industrial haze. Next time, we roar louder. Picnic under willows, Prosecco popping, we vowed amplification. Podcast launch, Field and Heart. Spilling stories with guests. Ex-players outed, allies rising. Debut episode trended, downloads surging. The humanism viral. Listeners demanding, you saved my kid. Fall 3 Dawn Descendant. Jake backup no more, starting 6 games on Stafford's injury. Me, WR2, hauling in 30 catches by December. Games synced oddities. Philly-Detroit Christmas Eve. Snow globe magic under domed lights. Halftime carolers in the stands, but field ferocity. His pick 6 off my route read. My revenge TD on a post. Win hours, but joy mutual post-game. Families mingling in luxury box. Mia toasting to dynasties. Emotion peaked New Year's Eve, Vegas Bowl for Lions. Playoff berth earned. Sweet comped, skyline glittering. He knelt amid confetti from an earlier party. Marry me, Alex. Rewrite the ending. Ring simple coordinates etched hours. Yes. Breathless. Kiss ceiling under Eiffel replica lights. Calls erupted. Mom's whooping, dad's gruff congratulatory. Wedding brewed spring, low-key in Austin. My turf, hill country ranch rented, tamales and brisket fusion. 100 guests. Team alums, league vets, family bridging divides. Jake in linen suit. Me in embroidered guayabera. Vows under live oaks. From drills to this, you shifted my world. Laughter through tears. Dance floor packed to bonda and blues. But league life laced romance with grit. Year 4, trade rumors swirled. Eagles shopping me to Dallas for cap space. Won't let it, Jake vowed. But brass called. Opportunity, kid. Heart splintered. Final presser. Reads pat. Philly loves you. But balls round. Dallas bound. Cowboy star rising. But distance a dagger. Flights weekly. Texts constant. Suspense and separation. His Lions playoff run without me. My debut TD waved to an empty sky. Catch up soon. FaceTime promises. Betrayal? None. Just life's fumble, recovered in visits. Spring training reunions, summer escapes to that Ohio farm. now a haven with his folks' wary welcome. Humanistic arc crested off-field. Our foundation, Gridiron Allies, funding queer youth sports, scholarships blooming. Speaking gigs at HBCUs, pride parades in full pads. Impact measured in letters. Your story let me come out. Mid-season, Cowboys-Lions Thanksgiving rematch. Me streaking, him throwing, interception, my return for score. Crowd booed. He grinned post-hit. Payback sweet. Locker hugs. Mics catching love wins. Headlines shifted permanent. From scandal to standard. By 5-year mark, stability. Me in Dallas long-term, him Lions lifer. Philly visits for old haunts, Austin for holidays. Kids? Not yet. Surrogacy talks tentative, but dreams danced. Little feet on turf, teaching routes and resilience. One anniversary, back at Auburn, alumni game invite. We walked the field dusk-lit, ghosts of drills whispering. Playful shove to this, he said, arms slung. I leaned in, best dynamic shift ever. Stars wheeled, America vast below. Our story, etched in every blade of grass. Decade in, the league's grind etched lines on our faces. Crow's feet from squinting at sidelines. Laugh lines from post-game roasts. Jake hung cleats at 35, shoulder finally cashing the check, transitioning seamless to Lions QB coach. Barking routes to rookies, his drawl mentoring like gospel. Me? 2 rings richer with Dallas. WR coach now for the Cowboys youth. Trading halls for handoffs in film rooms that smelled of coffee and chalk. Life layered domestic. Austin fixer-upper. Bought post-wedding, now home to Theo. Our son via surrogacy, 5 and fierce, with Jake's blue eyes and my sprint speed. Papa Alex, watch this. He'd yell, spiraling Nerf balls in the backyard. Mia babysitting with tales of our wild days. Jake's folks visited quarterly. Senior bouncing Theo on knee. Gruff stories of steel mills, yielding to proud grandpa boasts. Romance endured. Evolved. Anniversaries at that river. Now with picnic baskets and Theo's crayons scribbling, happily ever. But drama whispered. League politics, old scars flaring. A new commissioner, conservative bent. Distractions. Code for us, echoes of Tommy's venom. Speaking tour cancelled, sponsors waffling. Jake fumed over dinner, fork stabbing steak. After all this? I squeezed his hand. Theo Abed upstairs. We built the table. They can't unseat us. Podcast revival, Field and Heart 2.0. Guesting allies like Darius, now Eagles OC, and out legends like Wade Davis. Episodes trended, backlash boomeranging support. Petitions, player pledges. Humanism's tide. Turning. Suspense personal then. Theo's school play. Him as tree in the giving tree. But whispers from playground dads. Your dad's that gay couple? Jake and I prepped him gentle. Loves a team sport. Bud. All kinds count. His shrug. Pure kid. Like football. Laughter dissolved fear. Betrayal's last gasp. Ex-teammate memoir. Tommy's ghostwriter pen. Dredging Harlan's hypocrisy. From that drunken spill. Excerpts leaked, painting Jake traitor. Calls flooded. Agents advising silence. But we countered public. Op-ed in SI. From slip to strength. Owning the mess. Crediting growth. Sales tanked for the book. Ours soared in respect. Climax familial. Unexpected. Jake's diagnosis. Post-retirement physical. Early arthritis. Manageable but marker. Won't coach forever. He confided lakeside. Theo skipping stones. Emotion choked. Will adapt. Like always. PT routines mirrored our old rehab. Me spotting lifts, him grumbling through yoga I swore by. Texas woo-woo. He'd tease. But compliance came. Love the motivator. Humanistic pivot. Semi-retirement. Us launching Next Play Academy. Camp for queer and underserved youth. Fields in Austin blending drills with dialogue. Theo first camper. Age 8. Hauling passes with grit. Guests rotated. Marcus, now Lions DC. Regaling tackle tales. Lena, therapist. Sessions on identity. Impact rippled scholarships to colleges. stories of outs inspired. Theo's teen years tested, high school QB dreams, but scouts probing legacy kid of those guys. Crushes on teammates, heartbreaks mirroring ours. How'd you know, Papa? He'd ask, voice cracking. Jake's arm around. Felt it in the gut, like a perfect route. Guidance gentle, no rush. Our dynamic, modeled in patience. 20s for us. Empty nest looming, Theo to Auburn. Full circle, scholarship in hand. Drop-off day, stadium tour. Jake tearing up. Don't fumble my heart, kid. Laughter amid hugs. Then us driving home silent. Hands clasped over console. Empty fields ahead, I said. He grinned. Plenty of plays left. Grandkids came late. Theo's twins, Lila and Mateo. Firecrackers with his arm, my speed. Farm in Ohio became summer haven, Harlan Sr., now soft grandpa. Teaching whittling, stories sanitized of rust. Mia's brood too, barbecues sprawling multi-gen, languages mixing Spanish, English, love universal. Betrayal resolved full. Tommy's end-of-life letter. Cancer's toll, postmarked regret. I was scared like you. Sorry doesn't fix. But it's true. Jake read it quiet, then burned it riverside. Forgiven. Forward. Humanistic close, grace over grudge. 60s found us silvered. Coaching clinics coast to coast. Podcast archives gold for historians. Hall of Fame nods. Individual plaques. Joint exhibit. Pioneers of play. Induction night. Detroit Gala. Theo emceeing. They shifted more than dynamics, they shifted us all. Post-ceremony. Hotel balcony overlooking the strait. City lights winking. That first shove, Jake murmured, cane tapping rhythm. I leaned on him. Best plot twist. Kiss soft. Enduring no storm, just sunset peace. Legacy. Fields greener for boys like us, drills playful without peril. America. Bent but brighter. Our story. Etched eternal. Humanistic him to hold on.